Let's be honest. Trying to find stable housing while you're a student, it can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. But if you're at Los Angeles Trade Technical College, there's actually a system designed to help. So today, we're going to walk through that whole process, step by step, from the very first referral to getting your own keys.
So, you might be wondering, how does a student actually go from needing a place to live to holding the keys to their own apartment? It seems like a massive jump, right? But believe it or not, there's a clear path from A to B. And we're going to map out that whole journey together right now.
All right, so where does it all start? Every single journey kicks off with one small step, and in this case, that step is the referral.
And here's the best part. Your journey begins right there on campus. You don't have to go searching for some random office somewhere. The whole thing gets started at the LATTC Basic Needs Center. And that is so important because it means you're starting in a place you know, with people you can trust, people who are already there to support students just like you.
Okay, so once that referral is in, you're officially in the system. Now, this next phase has a kind of formal-sounding name, but don't worry, it's really just about getting you connected to the right people.
So, that referral you got, it gets sent over to a partner organization they call NMO, and they handle something called intake and triage. I know, those terms sound super official and kind of intimidating, so let's just break down what they actually mean.
First up, NMO. What is that? Simple. Think of them as your personal guide through this whole thing. They're the case managers who are going to walk with you every step of the way. The big takeaway here is you're not doing this alone.
And what about intake and triage? All that means is it's the official sign-up and assessment. It's just the part where NMO gets to know you and your specific situation. That way they can figure out the best way to help you. It's all about understanding your needs right from the start.
All right, so after that first meeting, things get interesting. The path forward isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. This is where you hit a fork in the road, and your journey can go in one of two directions. And it all depends on your current situation. So the big question is, what happens next? After that intake, which road are you going to be on?
Well, there are basically two main possibilities here. And what determines your next step really boils down to one simple thing. Do you already have a housing voucher, or are you already part of another housing program? So let's break that down. Path 1, that's for students who already have a voucher, like a housing choice voucher or an emergency housing voucher. Path 2, that's for students who are already in another program, like transitional living services or rapid rehousing. See, the whole point is that the system is built to meet you exactly where you're at.
Now, you probably noticed that first path mentions something called an EHV. What's that? It stands for Emergency Housing Voucher. It's a special kind of voucher that comes from the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles. You'll hear them called HACLA. And it's designed to help get people into stable housing, like fast.
All right, so once your path is figured out, now we get to the really good stuff. This is the exciting part, where all this planning and all this paperwork starts to turn into an actual physical home.
No matter which path you're on, they both lead to the same place, finding an apartment. Now, the program has a cool name for these. They call them Excalibur units. All that means is that it's an apartment that's already been approved to accept housing vouchers. So, this is it. This is where the hunt for your new home officially kicks off.
So, what does that look like? Well, it's basically a three-step process. Step 1, you find that approved unit. Step 2, that place has to pass a housing inspection, to make sure it's safe and everything's up to code. And finally, Step 3, you, the landlord, and the housing authority all sign the final agreements. Simple as that.
Now, a really important piece of that final paperwork is something called the HAP contract. HAP stands for Housing Assistance Payment, and this is the magic document, really. It's the official agreement that lets HACLA pay part of your rent directly to the landlord for you. Basically, it's the contract that makes the whole voucher system work.
And once all those agreements are signed and stamped, you've done it. You've reached the finish line of the whole application process. Now the focus changes. It's all about moving in, and more importantly, staying housed and achieving that long-term stability.
And then comes the best day of all, move-in day. But guess what? The support doesn't just stop once you have the keys. You'll also go through something called NMO onboarding. It's just a way to make sure you've got everything you need to get settled and really thrive in your new home.
And this really brings us to the whole point of this entire process. I mean, it's not just about getting a key to an apartment, right? It's about something so much bigger. It's about getting stable, securing a long-term lease, and building a foundation so you can actually focus on what you're there to do, succeed in school.
Because really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Having a safe, stable home. It's not just a nice to have, it's the foundation for everything else. It's what makes it possible to focus on your classes, to get your homework done, and to actually build your future. So, I want to leave you with this question to think about. Once that constant stress of not knowing where you're going to live is gone, what's possible? With a stable home, what can a student really achieve? Honestly, the sky's the limit.